Welcome to the story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and support me. The world shimmered around Wanda Maximoff, known to many as the Scarlet Witch. Her breath was steady as she stood in the center of a candlelit room, her crimson magic flickering at her fingertip. The air was heavy with the weight of old magic, and before her, the tome of prophecies lay open, revealing its darkest secret. The book was ancient, filled with cryptic warnings of events yet to come, and Wanda's fingers trembled slightly as she turned the next page. The vision had been clear, more vivid than anything she'd ever experienced. She saw Deadpool, Wade Wilson, standing over her with a bloodied blade, her body crumpling into ash at his feet. He was grinning, his eyes gleaming beneath his mask, and she could feel the life draining from her as he delivered the final blow. The prophecy repeated in her mind like a broken record. Harry, Deadpool will kill you. Wanda swallowed hard, the bile rising in her throat. She had known Deadpool for years. His chaotic, unpredictable nature made him difficult to trust. But murder. He was reckless. But this felt wrong. But the tome never lied. Its prophecies were immutable, unchangeable. The weight of that knowledge pressed heavily on her chest, and for the first time in a long while, Wanda felt powerless. She had been through so much, lost so many people, and yet this betrayal from someone she had never considered a true enemy felt like the cruelest twist of all. But she would not go down without a fight. Wanda's eyes narrowed, her mind already calculating her next move. If Deadpool was fated to kill her, she would take the first step. She would strike before he even had the chance to draw his sword. Her magic flared, the red energy coiling around her wrists like living flame. She whispered incantation, summoning the threads of time and fate that bound her to this unwanted destiny. She would rewrite it. She had to. Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool, kicked open the door to his dingy apartment, a half-eaten chimichanga in one hand and a smirk plastered across his face. The day had been weird, even by his standards. Earlier, a pigeon had flown into his head twice, and then he accidentally stepped into what he could only describe as a mini tornado made entirely of stray cats. New York. Man, it never failed to surprise him. "Hey, Bob, you here?" Deadpool called out, wiping some sauce from his chin. Bob, his long-suffering sidekick, was usually lurking around the place, trying to avoid the worst of Deadpool's antics. But the apartment was eerily quiet. Deadpool's fingers twitched. The hairs on the back of his neck stood up. Something wasn't right? He shrugged off the feeling, tossing the rest of his chimichanga onto the table and flopping down on the couch. Whatever, probably just watching reruns of Friends again. Who needs real friends when you've got a never-ending supply of television shows? But the unease did he leave. His mind wandered, flitting from one strange thought to another, until suddenly a sharp pain jolted through his head. Visions fractured and confusing filled his mind. Wanda, her eyes glowing with crimson magic, himself standing over her, holding a sword covered in her blood. Deadpool blinked, his heart racing. The hell was that? He stood up, pacing the length of his apartment, his mind struggling to make sense of the images.
Whoa. Why am I getting the murder vibes here? I am the fun guy, right? Yeah, I might shoot a guy in the face, but I got a true murder friend.
The visions came again, stronger this time. Wanda collapsing in a swirl of red magic, her life fading as he dealt the killing blow. He felt a sick twist in his gut. Okay, this is getting super weird. Even for me, he needed answers, and there was only one place to get them. Deadpool strolled into the Sanctum Sanctorum, the headquarters of Doctor Strange, with the casual air of someone who had just walked into a coffee shop. He whistled, glancing around at the endless mystical artifacts scattered throughout the room. "Doc, you hear I am having some serious hallucinations or something." "Maybe it's in the chimichanga, but I don't think it's in the chimichanga." Dr. Stephen Strange appeared, his usual stoic expression betraying only a flicker of annoyance. "Wait, I am in the middle of something important. What do you want?" Deadpool raised, no need to get all on Misto. "Just need a quick chat there, son of prophecy thingy, and I think Wanda side's involved, and I am pretty sure I am gonna kill her." That sound familiar. Strange's expression darkened, his gaze shifting to the tome of prophecies on a nearby shelf. A prophecy. Yeah, something about me being all stabby and Wanda being all dead. Dr. Strange moved quickly, retrieving the book and flipping through its pages. His brow furrowed as he found the passage Wade was referring to. This is serious. Deadpool crossed his arms, trying to look as serious as Strange. Yeah, I gathered that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love a good plot twist, but killing Wanda, not really my thing. Strange closed the book with a snap. The prophecy states that you will kill her, but prophecies are not always what they seem. They are glimpses of potential futures, influenced by fear and emotion. If Wanda believes you will kill her, she may try to act on that fear. Deadpool sighs, widened. Oh crap, she's gonna come after me first.
Isn't he?
Strange nodded gravely. You need to find her, convince her that the prophecy can be changed if you fail. This future will become a reality. Deadpool's mind raced. Wanda was one of the most powerful beings in existence. If she wanted him dead, it wasn't going to be easy to talk her out of it, but he had to try. Got it? Deadpool said, standing up and cracking his knuckle. Looks like it's time for some serious relationship counseling. Wade Wilson style. The air in the abandoned warehouse was thick with tension. Wanda stood in the center, her magic swirling around her in a chaotic dance of red light. She had created this place, a trap, a battleground where she would confront Deadpool. She could feel him approaching, his energy drawing closer, and her heart pounded in her chest. Wanda clenched her fists, steeling herself for what had to be done. She wasn't a killer, at least not by choice, but the prophecy had shown her a future where she died at Deadpool's hands, and she would not allow that to happen. She would protect herself, no matter the cost. The door to the warehouse creaked open, and there he was, Deadpool, his red and black suit slightly torn, his mask as ridiculous as ever. He strolled in casually, his eyes scanning the room before they landed on Wanda. Well, Deadpool said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. If it isn't my favorite witch, come to hex me into oblivion, or are we doing coffee first? Wanda's jaw tightened. This isn't a joke. Wait. Oh, he's joking. Deadpool spread his arms. Look, I get it. Prophecies, doom, death, blah, blah, blah. But you and me, we've always had a weird relationship, sure, but killing each other. Come on, that's not how this story's supposed to end. Wanda's eyes flared with red energy. The prophecy's clear. Chewie going to kill me. Deadpool took a step forward, his tone softening. Wanda, listen. That's not who I am. Yeah, I do some messed up stuff, but I wouldn't kill you. Not unless you count that time I accidentally blew up your cat, but that was totally an accident. Enough. Wanda's voice cracked like a whip, and the ground beneath Deadpool's seat trembled as her magic surged. I've seen it, Wade. I've felt it. You were going to betray me, and I won't let that happen. Deadpool raised his hands in mock surrender. Okay, I get it. You're scared, but here's how the thing, prophecies are just words. They don't control us. We control us. You got the power to rewrite this story. Wanda hesitated, her magic flickering for a moment. Deadpool's nod at the edges of her doubt. Could it be true? Could she change what seemed inevitable? Before she could answer, the air crackled with energy, and Wanda's vision blurred. The warehouse around them began to shift, the walls melting away as the fabric of reality itself twisted under the weight of her magic. The warehouse dissolved around them, the walls fading like smoke, and suddenly Wanda and Deadpool were somewhere else entirely. The city skyline loomed above them, twisted and distorted, a nightmarish version of the world they knew. Skyscrapers bent unnaturally, as if pulled by invisible forces, and the sky was a swirl of crimson and black cloud. Deadpool blinked, taking in their new surroundings. Okay, definitely not in Kansas anymore. Or anywhere normal, for that matter. Wanda, did you mean to do this, or is this one of those accidental reality warping things? Wanda stood rigid, her eyes glowing red as she struggled to control the magic spiraling out of her. This is because of you. Your presence is fueling the prophecy. Wait, I have to stop it. Deadpool sighed and shook his head. Oh, come on. You really think I am the root of all this madness? I am a flatter, but I don't try to have that kind of power. Sure, I've got charm, good looks, and a healing factor that makes me the worst person to kill, but I am not your enemy here. Wanda raised her hands, magic pulsing from her fingertips. I can take that chance. I won't die because I let you in. Wait. The ground beneath Deadpool's feet cracked as the reality around them continued to warp. The buildings shifted, their shapes becoming grotesque, impossible. It felt like the world was tearing at the seams, and Deadpool knew that if Wanda lost control completely, there would not be much of a world left. He needed to get through to her. All right, Deadpool said, putting his hands up in a show of surrender. You win, Wanda. I'll stop trying to be all heroic and stuff. If you were gonna do this, fine, but can we at least talk first, like adults? I promise I won. Break into a musical number unless absolutely necessary. Wanda's magic flared, but she hesitated, her eyes searching his for a sign of treachery. Deadpool, for once, dropped the sarcasm and met her gaze. I don't want to kill you, Deadpool said, his voice softer than she'd ever heard it. I don't even know where this prophecy came from, but if it's got you freaked out enough to blow up half of New York's skyline, then maybe we need to figure this out together. If you still want to blast me into tiny Deadpool chunks after that, then fine. But at least give me a chance to prove I am not the villain of this story. Wanda's magic flickered, the red glow around her hands dimming slightly. For the first time, doubt crossed her face. She wanted to believe him, but the vision had been so vivid, so terrifying. Could it really be that simple? Could the prophecy be wrong? Deadpool watched her closely, sensing the shift. He took a slow, careful step forward, resisting the urge to crack a joke. You one of the strongest people I know. Wanda, you've been through hell and back, and you still standing. You really think I'd be dumb enough to try to take you down? I might be crazy, but I am not suicidal. Wanda's lips parted, but before she could respond, the ground beneath them trembled violently. The distorted cityscape around them began to collapse in on itself, spiraling into a vortex of chaos. Wanda gasped, clutching her head as the match ink inside her surged out of her control. No, this wasn't supposed to happen. Wanda cried, her voice shaking. Deadpool sprinted forward, reaching out to grab her by the shoulder. Wanda, focus, you're losing it. You've really gotta rein it in before we both get sucked into whatever black hole you're recreating here. But Wanda couldn't hear him. Her eyes were wide with panic, her power spinning out of control as reality itself began to tear apart. The prophecy had done more than just shake her trust in Deadpool. It had shaken her trust in herself. She could feel it all slipping away, the future she feared coming true in the worst possible way. Deadpool did the only thing he could think of. He slapped her hard. Snap out of it. He shouted, I am not killing you. This whole thing is a mess, but you don't have to let it end like this. You were stronger than that. The slap jolted Wanda out of her spiraling thoughts. Her magic wavered, the chaos around them slowing for a brief moment. She blinked, stunned, and for the first time in what felt like forever, her mind cleared. Deadpool stood there, hands still raised, looking as serious as he'd ever been. Heck, I am not the bad guy, and neither are you. Wanda's breathing slowed as she looked around, seeing the destruction she had caused. The city was still warping, but it had stopped collapsing in on itself. She glanced down at her hands, the red magic glowing softly, no longer out of control. Deadpool gave her a lopsided grin. Tarsi, not so hard. Just breathe. You're Wanda freaking Maximoff. You got this. For a long moment, they stood in the midst of the crumbling reality, the world holding its breath. Wanda's mind raced. She'd been so sure of the prophecy, so convinced that Deadpool was her enemy. But now she wasn't. Had she been wrong all along? Was it her fear that had been driving the prophecy? She clenched her fists, the magic around her finally calming. Stark. I don't know what to believe anymore. Deadpool shrugged. Well, I'll tell you this. If you ever get a vision of me in the future, it's probably just me pulling off some killer moves at a taco stand. I don't do little killing friends thing. Not my style. Wanda managed a small smile, the tension easing from her shoulders. Maybe I've been looking at this all wrong. The prophecy, it's not set in stone, is it? Deadpool shook his head. Nope, prophecies are like bad movie scripts. They can be rewritten. Wanda took a deep breath, her heart still heavy but no longer suffocating. I was so afraid, Wade. I thought if I didn't stop you, everything would fall apart. Deadpool winked. Everything falls apart around me anyway. It's a part of my charm. The ground beneath them stopped trembling, and the twisted buildings around them slowly righted themselves, returning to their original form. The sky cleared, the swirling clouds dissipating, and the city returned to a semblance of normalcy. Wanda looked around, her expression softening. I think I let the fear take over. I saw the prophecy, and I thought it was the only possible future. Deadpool clapped her on the back, nearly knocking her over. Sorry, well, good news, Yuri's still alive, and I haven't stabbed anyone in like at least an hour. We were golden. Wanda couldn't help but laugh, the sound surprising even herself. For the first time in what felt like forever, the weight of the prophecy no longer pressed down on her. She had let fear control her, but now she could see clearly the future wasn't written. She still had a choice. As the last remnants of the chaotic magic faded, Deadpool turned to her with his usual cocky grin. So what's seen next? You gonna hex me into a new dimension? Or are we calling this whole prophecy of doom thing a wrap? Wanda shook her head, her smile genuine. I think we were done here. Deadpool gave her a thumbs up. Great, now about that coffee pull. Wanda rolled her eyes, but for once, she didn't feel the need to argue. The prophecy had been a test one she had almost failed, but with Deadpool's strange unpredictable charm, she had found her way through it. As they walked away from the remnants of the chaotic battlefield, Deadpool couldn't resist one last quip. If you ever see me holding a sword in a vision again, just remember I am probably trying to cut a chimichanga in half. Wanda smiled, shaking her head. I'll keep that in mind. And with that, they walked off into the city. The future no longer clouded by fear or prophecies, but full of possibility.